Now, polls have closed in Botswana for a cliffhanger election set to test the dominance since independence of the ruling party, as well as challenge the country's image of stability. The Botswana Democratic Party, which has ruled since independence from Britain in 1966, suffered a seismic jolt in May when former President Ian Khama renounced his hand-picked successor, Mokgweetsi Masisi. Mr. Khama stormed out of the party after accusing his former deputy of autocratic behavior, throwing his weight instead behind the opposition umbrella for democratic change, once his fiercest critic. Yet Mr. Masisi says he's confident of victory.
I can only thank God for having been the protagonist in this test. Sure, it's the toughest election we've had to fight, but you know, I enjoy a test. I enjoy a challenge. I love campaigning. It's a pity, I'm a little sad because it's come to an end today. We're voting, you know. I wish it could go on a little longer. Vote. This is the only time in 5 years, generally speaking, when you go for general election, that they would have an opportunity to vote for a government of their choice. And it's important, it's imperative that they exercise that right.
President Masisi there. Well, for more on the Botswana election, let's talk to the African Affairs analyst and the publisher of Africa Briefing, John Ofe-Ansah, who joins me now from our London studio. Good to talk with you, John. What sense do you get of how the election has gone today? Has it been generally peaceful, or has the tension been much in evidence?
Well, Botswana isn't a country known for its any riotous or any rancorous elections. So since independence in 1966, all the elections, every 5 years, have been conducted peacefully, and the winner always, the loser always accepts defeat. But this time, and it is the same this year as well, it's been peaceful, but the opposition candidate, Duma Boko, says that if he suspects any rigging, any irregularity, he might not accept the results. So that's, it's a departure from the norm that if we don't take care, it might be Botswana's first rancorous election. But apart from that, so far, so good. It has gone on peacefully, as we've come to expect every election in Botswana to be.
Right. And what have been the real big issues in this election? I mean, with youth employment close to about, youth unemployment rather, close to about 40%, I expect the economy will be the biggest issue.
Yes, the economy is the biggest issue, and both and the policies, the promises, the campaign promises by both parties, are similar. Each one is promising. The opposition leader Duma Boko is promising, to create 1,000 jobs if he's elected, whereas Mokgweetsi Masisi, the incumbent, is also promising to improve upon his record. And it's in the year that says the incumbent has been in power, he's tried to clamp down on corruption, especially making the declaration of assets obligatory for all public servants, and also cutting out red tape for businesses. So this latter one has made him rather very popular, with the business community. But the main issue here is the economy, especially unemployment, as you mentioned. That is the main crux of the matter, for the electorate. And each candidate is promising to provide more jobs.
Well, absolutely. We're hearing of some pretty big promises there from the opposition UDC. They've been going all out, saying they'll create 100,000 jobs in the first 12 months if they're elected. I mean, that put the ruling BDP party on the defensive, even if that promise seems unrealistic. There's also talk of dramatically raising the minimum wage, which critics say will ruin the economy. How much have these promises caught the imagination of the public?
Well, I must say that some of the promises by the opposition leader Duma Boko, is rather, pie in the sky. Like you mentioned, creating 100,000 jobs in 12 months and increasing the minimum wage. No, because Botswana economy is dependent on diamond. About 75%, two-thirds of its foreign revenue comes from diamonds, and diamond production is dwindling. Okay, so so they are trying to encourage tourism and banking. So and again, the budget deficit is also rising to about 3.5% of GDP. So I don't think that Dumaboko will be able to deliver on these promises. But I believe that Bokwesa Basisi, the current president, is rather capable, right, of delivering. After all, he's been in power for 1 year, and his record is also quite commendable in the year that he's been in power.
And what about the big personalities? I mean, there's been this sort of big falling out in the ruling party, the established party, the BDP, which has been there since 1966. There's been a switching of sides among the power brokers. How much has that mattered in this election? I mean, is it just an argument within the ruling class, or does it excite voters? Let me put it that way.
What the former president Ian Khama, who actually handpicked the incumbent Masisi as his successor, what he's doing is rather, opening up the political space in the country. Okay, they fell out mainly because of cabinet appointments, and also Masisi overturning a hunting ban on elephants, which actually Khama did not like, because Khama himself
I'm
is
really
a
sorry,
conservationist.
John, but I'm going to have to interrupt you there because we're out of time. John Ofe, Answer, the African Affairs analyst there. You're watching Arise News Hour. Plenty more still ahead.